I felt after watching the game yesterday is that you're not going to win the title doing that. Going toe-to-toe with the opposition. You're not going to win it. You've got to convince your players that we might have to win games 1-0. And yesterday was 2 toe-to-toe. Could have gone either way. And I think Arsenal need to be really careful about doing that. You know, I always admired the year that Leicester won the title is they did it in 2 ways in one season, where they went toe-to-toe early on and then they went quite cautious and didn't give much away. I think they had 5 1-0s in the second part of the season and they got over the line. I think Arsenal need...
I need to stop him here. Of course, welcome back to the Fan Channel Review Show. Hit like and share buttons. Leave your comments below. All the creators we feature today will... the links are in the description below. And make sure you scan that QR code right next to my head to follow my TikTok account. Arsenal haven't won a game in 4 in all comps. Haven't won a game in the Premier League in 3. They beat Villa in spectacular fashion. They answer the critics. How would they bounce back from the slump? They answered it in dramatic style. A late 2 goals, but late winners to give themselves 3 points. You then see Man City go and collapse in their game that kicks off sort of half an hour later. And the knives are out. If Arsenal play like that every single game between now and the end of the season, they won't win the league. They're not going to do that in every game between now and the end of the league. That was a response to a bad run of form. There's been so many games this year when you look back at it. Palace in the opening game, when they beat Bournemouth as an example, when they beat Brentford, when they beat Leeds, when they beat Nottingham Forest, when they beat Chelsea, when they beat Wolves, in their game against Newcastle, when they beat Tottenham. They've had many clean sheets this year. Yesterday's game against Villa wasn't indicative of Arsenal this season. It was indicative in the first maybe 60, 70 minutes of how Arsenal have been in the last 3 or 4 matches. But there's no sign that this is going to continue. This was a slump, as we all saw. And Cascarino's right here. If they concede like that and play like that in every single game for the remainder of the season, they probably won't win the league. But where's the precedent this year that is going to happen? They've bounced back emphatically from a poor run of form that saw them fall off the top spot, and they put themselves back in a position where if they win their game in hand, they go back to being 5 points clear. There should be nothing but praise here. But am I surprised to see the knives out? Absolutely not.
Impressive second half. You know, they didn't turn up first half, but second half, they were relentless. Saka getting at players. You know, Xhaka, Odegaard was finding space. And Arsenal thoroughly deserved the win. But
there's always a but with these guys. Like I always say, the bullshit sandwich is coming here.
There was part of the game I didn't like. You know, I didn't like Martinelli, for me, running through empty net, and he's celebrating before he puts the ball in the back of the net. You know, he's been rubbish for a month.
What's that got to do with anything? He's been poor for a month. He's about to seal the deal to give his team a massive 3 points. Puts his arm... Listen, it's a little bit arrogant. But would he have said the same? Would he be sitting here saying the same thing if Buendia or Ollie Watkins was running through on goal to do the same thing? Absolutely not. And this is what I'm talking about. I know a lot of you say, oh, Terry, he's there. He's you know, going to the Emirates again to get his lollipop. At the end of the day, this is the kind of analysis that kind of rubs me up the wrong way. Instead of just saying, listen, Arsenal, in the end, were emphatic. What a comeback. What a performance. City have dropped points. Massive weekend for Arsenal. Title race well and truly on. It's what can we find to nitpick that's bad about them? I'm surprised they're not having debates about Mikel Arteta doing the weird thing at the referee and laughing at him. It's desperation because, as I've said all year, they are so scared of this Arsenal team delivering a title. They're so scared of the team they've got to laugh at for nearly 2 decades, kind of ending that duct, as it were, of not winning titles. It's shameless reporting.
The amount of time he wasted came back toward him. And you know the funny thing is, Jorginho's shot hit him on the head and went in. You couldn't make that up. I'm telling you something. We're all going to win the...
Why is he walking away? Like, get closer to Cecil here, bro.
Lottery tonight, because that is absolutely amazing. And these stupid, arrogant, foolish Villa fans, they need to go back to Birmingham where they belong.
What the game was in Birmingham.
Birmingham City is their team. Well, I hope we get... Listen, I respect Unai, but I hope Villa get relegated. You are crap. You're the worst team in the world. You're the worst team. How dare you think you could be us? The worst team in the world. The worst team in the world. And one thing I will say, Emi Martinez, you only won the World Cup. I'm grateful for your own goal. Villa, you're the worst team. Unai, leave them. Unai, leave Birmingham.
Unai, leave them. Listen, I get why Ty's like that. A lot of Arsenal fans have got this kind of weird beef with Villa because they tried to sign Emil Smith-Rowe. They obviously got Buendia, who was an Arsenal target. And it was this moment where Arsenal weren't doing very well. And I think Villa fans got a little bit too big for their boots and thought, we might become a better team than Arsenal. And it hasn't really gone according to plan. It really hasn't. And I think there were times in the game yesterday where they thought they were going to get the last laugh this season, maybe destroy all the confidence away from Arsenal. You can see there from Ty, who is a passionate Gooner, how much it means to them and how important that win was. And from a rival point of view as well, it was absolutely massive. And listen, listen, everyone knows if Man United can't win the league, I want Arsenal to stop City doing a three-peat purely to not take that record away from Man United and for us to be the only team that does it. But the passion there is crazy.
Get out! Guys, it's enough! 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 Enough!
I haven't seen Angry Rantman in years.
And enough of this Graham asshole Potter! Enough is enough! Enough is enough! Can't even win against 16th position West Ham United, and he's Chelsea Football Club manager. After spending 600 million, he cannot win against 16th position West Ham United. And we are being told that we have to trust the process of going to the championship, a process of finishing mid-table after spending 600 million. Get out, Potter. Todd Bowley, do us a favor. Sack Graham Potter tonight.
No, I understand.
Guys!
I understand the anger. I really, really do. And I said yesterday that I got it wrong about Graham Potter. I think I've been kind of holding on to the hope that he could do it. The story, the arc, where he's come from, his mannerisms, even his look. I thought, it'd be so good for someone like him. No arrogance. Really had to come up the hard way from a coaching point of view. But I saw that game. The game against West Ham was one thing, but the performance against Southampton, 110%. He's got to be sacked. It looks like they're sticking with him for now. I don't understand it. For me, it's a crazy, crazy decision. It really, really is. But listen to this here from Mark Goldbridge, who is backing him. Take a listen to this.
From Gabby, to be fair, saying sack him for that post-match interview. You're talking about somebody's livelihood here. Chelsea have given.
I promise, and even it's been a weird these past few months.
Livelihood. I'm sorry. Listen, Goldbridge, you're a goat. You're a brilliant guy. You're not talking about a working class man on a living wage, where if he loses his job, if he gets sacked, he gets paid £50 million of compensation. I'm really sorry. His livelihood shouldn't be anybody's concern. His livelihood. The guy would be one of the richest football people in the world. He'd probably go into the top 50 wealthiest people in football just because of their buyout, just because of what they'd have to pay him if they sacked him, not buyout, the kind of sacking clause. That's mad.
Opportunity. They've given him £300 million. I think that works both ways. I think that they need to give him the support and the backing. Chelsea ain't winning the league. I don't think they're going to get top four. Champions League is still there. I think what have you got to lose seeing it through till the end of the season? You're genuinely not going to get in the top four race, and you're not going to win the championship.
Do you know what I think Mark's missing? And I was missing this. So I'm not having a pop-up Mark. I'm saying what I found is this. Between now and the end of the season, the idea is to build up a head of steam ready for next year to challenge. And they're not doing that. They can't pass the ball very well. They can't create chances. The manager isn't even giving players a run of games to create any kind of continuity or any chemistry. There's no animation from him. There's no character from him. He's too accepting of defeat. And I think that some Chelsea fans are right in this. I think there's already a disconnect between him and a lot of these players. And I think the longer that he stays, the worse this is going to get. They may have made a massive mistake with Graham Potter, and Todd Bowley's made more mistakes than I expected him to do. And I think this could be a very, very expensive one for them. But I want your thoughts and I want your feelings. Do you agree with Rantman? Do you agree with Mark Goldbridge? Who or what should happen? What should happen at Chelsea in terms of Graham Potter? Should he stay on or should they replace him? And if so, with who?
Where would you place him?
I think Rashford's ceiling is high.
right, is high, but I don't think he'll ever be the best in his position because I believe nowadays you've got robots coming through that are great at everything.
You're talking about an Erling Haaland.
Haaland, but you look at the winger Chelsea just signed Mudryk. Mudryk's a robot. You'll see it in a year. He's a robot.
So you think Mudryk's going to go on and do better?
Rashford's super. I believe so.
What's Rashford lacking then?
Rashford's superpower is his ball striking. He's so clean at striking the ball. That's why he scores long shots, right?
He's got pace.
But his dribbling actually isn't as good as you think it is. And look, this is because I rely on numbers a lot.
Listen, Bhavs is right here. Rashford isn't an elite dribbler. He doesn't even attempt that many per game, a couple per game, generally speaking. But not being an elite dribbler doesn't mean you can't be the best in your position. Let's see what numbers he's talking about here.
That's why I do, right? So it's my perspective is Rashford's his numbers are actually pretty unsustainable. And I've compared him yesterday to my brother Oli, he's a United fan, and I was gonna keep it inside, and it's gonna be controversial. Gerard Bowen last season.
Wow. Comparing Gerard Bowen, I think, scored 18 goals last season. It seems to be an anomaly year. This Rashford situation is not the same. Now, first and foremost, Bav is entitled to the opinion that he don't think Rashford will ever become the best inside forward or the best striker in the world for a prolonged period of time. I don't. That's not a bad take. That's just a fair opinion. But he definitely could be in the top 3, top 5, top 10 in the world. There's no doubt. He may already be there. You've got to think this season in terms of across all competitions, and you have to review all competitions here. I think he's already 4th in terms of most productivity. But when people say these numbers are not sustainable for Rashford, there's no proof of that. Every season in his entire career, he's grown GA every single year, barring last season. And last season, we know was an anomaly. The club was in a mess, changing of managers. He was recovering from injuries. He had a confidence crisis. He had a terrible season. It was an anomaly year. This year, he's back to scoring. In fact, he's gone on to another level. Now, will he sustain scoring in nearly every single match? Probably not. Only a handful of football players have done that from an attacking point of view in the last couple of decades, where they're scoring 50, they're getting 50, 60 GA year in, year out, 2, 3, 4, 5 years on the bounce. A handful of players have done it. So that's kind of cool. But to compare him to Gerard Bowen is an absolute travesty of an opinion. It's a travesty of an opinion.
He had 12 goals and 12 assists. His goal scoring numbers are amazing. The rest of his numbers are pretty bang average. It's kind of very slowly similar to Rashford's numbers in the sense of his goal scoring numbers fantastic, but his passing, his dribbling numbers aren't amazing. They aren't.
But what are you saying here? And I think I know what he's saying here. This is what he's created the conclusion before having the conversation. So when you actually look at the number, I'm looking Premier League only here. Bukayo Saka's passing accuracy is 82%. Rashford's is 77%. Take-ons completed per 90 minutes. Saka is at 2.1. Rashford's is at 1.6. Unsuccessful take-ons about the same. It's basically lining it up and saying, well, Saka's passing is better. Saka's dribbling is better. Rashford might have slightly better goals, but the other attributes, Saka's better than him. So therefore, I'm going to say Saka's going to be a better player. It's all about putting Saka above Rashford, which is absolutely fair. But you could pick whatever attributes you want if you want to create that. Aerial duels. By the way, if you look at it, 5% better at passing. Accuracy, we're talking here. Crossing accuracy, though, Rashford, 31%. Saka, 25%. He left that out. Aerial duel success. Rashford wins 35% of his aerial duels. Saka only wins 19%. So we could all do this where we go, right, let's find 4 or 5 stats that Rashford is superior on, and we frame it that this is what makes a player brilliant. And then we argue backwards from there. Saka's amazing. Saka's brilliant. I think it's shameless and a little bit weak to, instead of saying Rashford is absolutely amazing, Rashford one of the best players in the world, great form, well done, to continually turn the Rashford conversation into, yeah, but my guy's better. That isn't the question that's being asked here, or isn't part of the debate. So it's very, very strange to me to hear that. It's kind of a little bit strange. And I think to compare him to Gerard Bowen, again, this reminds me a little bit on a watered-down version of Messi versus Ronaldo. It stopped being about my guy's better because he's better at these things. It became my guy's the best because your guy's crap at this stuff. Most football players through the history of football, there's a few aliens. You can find elements of their game that they're not that good at. You can find attributes that are not great, whether it's speed, whether it's passing, whether it's their dribbling, whether it's their ability to defend, whether it's aerial duels. You can always find weaknesses in anybody's game. But to focus on them and go, that's the reason why my guy's better, I think is wrong. When it comes to attackers, in the cold, hard light of day, who wins the most amount of trophies? Followed by consistency of outputs, followed by longevity will demonstrate who the better player is. That's it as far as I'm concerned. But I want your thoughts and I want your feelings. Please hit the like and the share button below. Subscribe to the Football Terrace, and we'll see you all again very, very soon. Thank you.